Shalom. Giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Kakwadash. And shalom to the hopefully elect out there. Back at you with another lesson. I'm going to entitle this video Zondervan Illustrated Bible Dictionary versus Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. Bear with me for a minute. Now, the difference between the Compact Bible Dictionary and the Zondervan's Illustrated, if you can see here, I'm at H, I'm at Ham. That's 1,100 pages in, almost 1,200 pages. And that's just H. And the Compact is only 600 some odd pages, not even 700 pages. So you get a lot of information. You get information from both, but you get more information from Illustrated. I'm gonna get on and try to get an actual copy of this book. Make a call, and if it's out there, I'll get it. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is this, and I'm most I will, and I'll go into other topics. Let's see how long this is. This is kind of I'm not really into the spirit, but let's see what happens. The spirit may jump on me. So what I did was I was looking for the word hell in the Compact, and I'll read that, but I'm going to the word ham. Ham as a place and ham as a person. Oh, this right here, what I'll do is I'm gonna leave is a PDF, as you can see. I'm gonna leave the link in the description box so you can, play around with this dictionary. But like I said, I want to get the actual copy of the actual book, the illustrated Bible dictionary. So what I did was I looked up ham just to compare it to ham in the new Compact. It's completely different. As a matter of fact, I'll go to the new Compact, but here I am in the illustrated. It says ham, a person, ham, Hebrew H, which is Hebrew 2769, possibly warm or hot. Actually, the word in the Hebrew is chum, which they say it right here, chum, which means hot, because it's a hot continent. Also, come some older English versions because the chum. It's not hum, it's chum. That's the right way of saying it. Second son of Noah and brother of Shem and Japheth. Then you have these precepts here, which I'm not going to really go into. Ham had 4 sons, Cush, Mizraim, which they call Egypt. The ancient Egyptians were not going around calling themselves Egyptian. That was a Greek term that was put on them. They were labeled as Egyptians by the Greeks. That's a Greek term, Egyptus, I believe. So the writers of this book are telling you that the people of Israel are the people of Egypt. Even the Arab-speaking nations, they call Egypt, they call it, I believe they say Misraim or something to that. Mizraim. They say it's similar to the Hebrew. Cush, Cush, if you do the research, Cush are the people of Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia. Those would be the people that live there are the descended from the Cushites. And this is why so-called Bible experts and scholars and Christian scholars and theologians, for the most part, they'll tell you that Ham, the four sons of Ham coming out of Noah, they were all black. Remember, dark genes are dominant. So, but they'll tell you in the next sentence, they'll speak about Noah and they'll mention Noah, or they'll depict Noah as a so-called white man. Give me one time in history that two so-called white people got together and had black children. Now that's possible because it's called the recessive gene. That means that when you say, well, how did I get this black child, this dark-skinned child? And the doctors will explain explain the theory, the science behind it, and they'll say, well, go back to your ancestry, and you had black people in your genealogy. The woman, the mother, she goes back to her ancestry. The father goes back to his ancestry, and at least one of them, maybe their great grandfather or mother, might have been a dark-skinned, a so-called black person. So the answer is that's why you had a dark child. Recessive genes. As a matter of fact, no, I don't got to look at it. I'll say if I'm not mistaken. So does it make sense? Does it make sense that Noah is a white man and had a son named Ham, and Ham had 4 sons, which are all black? Scholars will tell you that. Cush are the common knowledge. The Cushites are Ethiopians. Mizraim are the Egyptians. It says Put right here, which is the North Africans, and Canaan. And now what High Priest Ariel used to teach was the Canaanites are South Africans. The Canaanites, I don't know where he got the information from, but there was nobody in South Africa. When you deal with the Fertile Crescent, look that up. The part of Africa that was inhabited by people, people in the earth after the flood was the northeast part of Africa. Wasn't West Africa. West Africa was no man's land. South Africa, you go all the way to the south, there was no man's land. Now you had, did I do a lesson? I spoke on it. I don't know if I did a whole lesson. That the Zulus, like Shaka Zulu, they were Israelites. They were Israelites. For you Israelite camps out there, they were, especially ISUPK. Shaka Zulu was an Israelite. The Zulus were Israelites. The Zulus came from the Bantu people, which the Bantu people are located in Northwest Africa, in the vicinity of Nigeria and Benin, and those areas. Pull out a map of Africa. That's where the Israelites fled to. So now let's say, okay, Noah was a white man. He had a black son named Ham. But you said, you spoke about recessive genes. So Noah still could have been a white man. Okay, good. I'll go with that. But guess what? Let's deal with the genealogy of Noah. Lamech, comes to mind, Methuselah, Adam, just to name a few. And they lived to be 800, 900, so forth. So one of them, at least one of them had to be black. Where did that black guy come from? Because they were all black. Adam was a so-called black man. His son was a so-called black man. His son's son was a so-called black man. Well, he had two sons. You had Cain, which was the first son, and you had give me a second. You had Abel. So if Adam is a so-called black man, his wife Eve was a so-called black woman, then the sons that he had were both black men. So you might ask, well, wait a minute, you guys say that Cain is a so-called white man. Yeah, because he got a mark. He received the curse of leprosy. You could be born as a dark-skinned man, and you hit the age of 20, and then you got white spots on you. That's called leprosy. Esau gives it their own name, vitiligo. That's called leprosy. There's two forms of leprosy. That's in the law. I believe that's Leviticus 13 and Leviticus 14, if I'm not mistaken. It tells you of the leprosy of a scalp. If you have leprosy of a scalp, that means you have blonde hair, thin yellow hair. But like I said, there's two forms of leprosy: unclean leopard and a clean leopard. You run into a Edomite, a so-called white person, shake his hand, you're not going to get contaminated. The only ones that will be contaminated are the unclean ones. Part of leprosy is your skin turning white. That's what happened to Miriam. So when you do enough research into the scriptures, you find out that the original people were all black people. You do enough research, you find out that the Israelites were dark-skinned people. And see, these top Christian scholars and historians, they all know that. That's why they deceive you when they put their books together. They come across, first of all, when they do research, they go into the scriptures, they get historians, they get archaeologists, they'll get scientists, and they'll actually go to the lands, because the Esau is not a faith-based people. They're not a spiritual people. They don't believe things based on that somebody told them, because they really don't believe in the Most High. They might say they believe in the Most High. They don't believe in the Most High. What they do is they'll read the scriptures, and then they'll say, well, let's see if these scriptures, these accounts took place. Now, one thing that they did, they got the scholars, they got the archaeologists, they got the biblical scientists, the biblical historians, and they went to Ararat, Turkey, Mount Ararat, Turkey. And they found out there was an ark embedded into the mountain. Then they did other things. They dug up other things. They went to where David would be and the Israelites would be, and they would find relics. They would find relics of these different things, a sword or a helmet or whatever. Or they found a Moabite stone. There's an interesting story about the Moabite stone. What they call, the scholars call the Meshe Stele. Stele meaning stone, Meshe meaning the king of Moab at that time. And then on that Meshe Stele, on that Moabite stone, you have the name Yahweh written in the ancient Hebrew, what we call a Lashon Kodash. You have King David written, and this is a Moabite that's showing you that the Moabites spoke Hebrew. The Moabites spoke Hebrew, the Ammonites spoke Hebrew, and the Edomites spoke Hebrew, as well as the Israelites and the Canaanites. So let me go ahead and read this. I'm not going to make this long, but I'm just giving you kind of an introduction to this right here, the difference between the Zondervan Illustrated and the Compact. So we got to get a copy of that, but you have it now. You have it on PDF. And it says in Ezekiel 28 that this man is wiser than Daniel. There's nothing that could be hid from them. So they check everything. So they know who the Moabites are. They know who the Ammonites are. They know who they know that the Most High's name is Yahweh. They know that 2000 plus years ago, Yahweh Shai came on the scene. They know that we're the Israelites. When they gathered us up, I would think that they gathered us up into slavery. They knew that they knew that these people that they put on ships, these were Levites, and these people were Benjamites, and these people are Judites. You had terms going around back then called the Kingdom of Wida, the uh, the homie kingdom that came after the Kingdom of Wida. Wida is another way of saying Judah. You had a fort called Fort Judah. You had the people of Benin, which is Benin or Benim is son or sons in Hebrew. You have Nigerians that say that they descended from they escaped the onslaught of the Roman Empire during the time period of 66, actually 70 to 74 AD. Then you got other groups that say, well, Ephraim is down. No, Ephraim didn't go down there. Ephraim went with they went to the Americas. So let me read this, and I'm going to close it. I'm not going to be long on this. It says ham, person ham, possibly warm, hot. Hot is the correct word. Chum meaning hot. Also, um, some older English versions. Second son of Noah and brother of Shem and Japheth. And by the way, Japheth means large, like large or large land. It doesn't mean beautiful. And High Priest Ariel went off on that. He said it means beautiful. It doesn't mean beautiful, it means large. You have Yapa and you have Yapath. So you have the scriptures here. It says Ham had 4 sons, Cush, Mizraim, which are the Egyptians, Put, and Canaan. And any scholar, like I said, they all say that these are all black people. So Ham would have to be a so-called black man. So if Ham was a black man, Noah and Noah's wife were so-called black people. So Adam had to be a so-called black man. So the descendants of Shem are so-called black people, people of color. Genesis 10 and 6, he is identified as the ancestor of the Egyptians and of the peoples who were under the control of Egypt and Northeast East Africa, Arabia, and Canaan, with the exception of Nimrod, which was a Cushite. His name serves also as the patronymic of the fathers of his descendants. Give you a handful of precepts. Psalm 78 and 51, Psalms 105, 23, the 27, Psalms 106, 22, possibly also First Chronicles 4, verse 40, NIV, was it New International Version, I believe that stands for. Hamites supplied also in, I guess that's volume, verse 41 or whatever. It says, but this reference may allude to an otherwise known place. The term Hamitic was commonly used in the past to designate a group of languages in North Africa, including Egyptian, that are related to the what? Semitic languages. So when you look up Semitic languages, let me do this. I can't make it. Let me see if I can make. I can't do it because it's a PDF. But anyway, if you look up Semitic languages that are mentioned, the people of the Levant, it says the label Hamito-Semitic is seldom used. I'm not going to deal with that. It's seldom used today by scholars who prefer the term Afro Afro uh, Afro Sietic, according to Genesis 9, verse 20 to 25. By the way, 25th verse, I'll keep reading because it's going to mention it. Noah became intoxicated and he lay uncovered in a drunken stupor. Ham was because he was uptight, man. The blood pressure went up. He didn't know what was going to happen. The whole earth was flooded. They thought they were just going to be out on the sea. He didn't know what was going to happen. That was a fearful thing. So when he found land, he grew grapes. He became a husbandman, meaning a farmer, and he fermented the grapes and he drank it and he got drunk. He's happy that he's still alive. It said Ham saw him and told his brothers when. So they had law, but it was an unwritten, spoken law. You're not supposed to look upon your father or your mother's nakedness. Now, when Noah awoke and learned that what had happened, because the Most High showed him what had happened, he cursed Ham's son Canaan. Why did he curse Ham's son Canaan? And said that his descendants would be the slaves of the descendants of Shem and Japheth. Actually, Shem. So this is what these Edomite Christians use to justify the fact that they put Jacob in slavery because they're calling us Canaanites. We're not Canaanites, we're Israelites. So let me come down here to Ham as a place. Ham, the name of the city whose inhabitants, the Zozaites, were subdued by Kedar Lamer and and his allies in the time of Abraham. Right, that was the when Abraham got the what was it, 118 servants, 18 servants? I believe it was 118 servants. I was going through it yesterday. The site is usually identified with modern Tel Ham and North Jordan. Okay, so you have a lot more history in this book than you have. Let me do this. Let me do it this way. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, it mentions Hagar, Hagarites, Hagarines. Okay, I'm looking for the word. I gotta come down. Bear with me for a minute. Boy, let me do this. Bring it all the way down. Boy, this is wow. Wow, we're still at the HAs. Damn. Bear with me for a minute. Bring it down. Let me bring it down. Okay. AEI. Let me come back up. Right about here. Bear with me for a minute. I'm almost there. Almost there. Okay, that's give me a second here. Okay, we got it. Okay, so now we're at the word hell. Bear with me for a minute. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot on it. There's a lot of information on the word hell. So let's read some of it. Okay, it says hell, this English word from a Germanic root meaning concealed place or underworld, is used by the KJV and the OT to render Hebrew Sheol, age 8619, which is Deuteronomy 32 and 22, et el, meaning that's Latin for and others, see Sheol. And by the way, the word Sheol or Sha'al, it means pit. Now sometimes it means a condition. When King David was fighting, it said that, loosely translated, said, loosely paraphrasing rather, he said that hell can pass me about. What did he mean by that? That is condition. He was constantly fighting wars, and hell meaning death. In other words, he was close to death. He thought he was close to death at certain times, because at war there's a good chance you can die. But the Most High was with him. But he was in the condition, a hellish condition. Um, in an NT, it renders Greek Hades or Hades, G87, Matthew 11:23 et al. And others see Hades, and Gehenna, which Gehenna is a garbage dump back in the land of Israel. The valley of Hinnon, I believe it is. So you got these Christians talking about there's an actual place called hell. Well, there's no description of hell or hellfire, only in Deuteronomy 32 and 22. But there's no description of you burning hell forever and ever and ever. That's nowhere in the New Testament. Now, when you go to the lake of fire, which is a controversial subject, the lake of fire. Oh, I was watching the video that Vocab did. This was back in 2016, I believe. 2017, with Jesus is the Word. And there was a counter to a video that I did the night before. And he goes into I can bring it right up. I was watching it yesterday. he goes into the whole hell doctrine, saying that it's a place that you burn forever. And he never mentions, I believe he maybe makes reference in one scripture, but he reads out. And if you read this book here by the author named so and so, it says this. And if you read this over here, I said, this guy didn't even go into the scriptures to explain hell. Now, if anything, I believe he said that. I believe he mentioned the book of Luke, the rich man and Lazarus, which that was a parable, and that represented a condition that you Edomites being on top, you're in your heaven, and we are in our hell. But you're gonna be in hell. You're gonna be in the condition that we in, the cursed condition, pursuant to Deuteronomy 30 verse 7, and we're gonna be on top, and you're gonna be looking for mercy. So nobody, don't listen to that BS that vocab gives you, and don't listen to that BS that the IUIC gives you concerning hell. That's all BS. The lake of fire is Babylon the Great on fire. When the Lord said, he made the references, the place where the worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched, he was talking about the nuclear destruction. He was talking about Armageddon. It says in the NIV and other modern versions use it also exclusively as a translation of this last term, which refers to the valley of Hinnom, and I mentioned that. So you can look up Hinnom. It was a garbage dump. They would throw goats and garbage and so forth, and they would burn it. They would burn all that stuff. It had nothing to do with burning in hell. It said the location of the notorious sacrificial offering by fire. Well, it was a garbage dump. But there was sacrifices where they threw dead animals in there of children to the god Molech. That goes into something else. Because back then, going back to the Canaanite god Molech, they pushed this thing about you gotta to get a blessing, you gotta burn your children alive. Now them are Hamites. That's these simple ass niggas that want to be Hamites so bad. I pray the Most High make you a Hamite, so you can go with your black ass and go into slavery, which that's not going to happen. You better be happy. You're gonna look, some to shame and some to everlasting contempt, right? Daniel 12. You guys, you Hamitic guys, you Hamitic dudes, you black conscious people, when you're in the kingdom, you're gonna have your head down. You're gonna have your head down, but eventually you put your head back up. That all that black consciousness bullshit is nothing but a stumbling block. It's a major stumbling block for Jake, because the Most High don't want these Jakes to wake up to the truth, so he gives them stumbling blocks. The Most High is gonna make all you niggas line up to take that charagma. And if you niggas, if you Israelites out there keep going against what we're teaching about the charagma, the MOTB, the Most High might put the spirit on you to make you take the charagma, man. And we'll be filming your ass doing videos. Be sure, oh shit, so and so, such and such is getting the chip. He getting the chip. That's his ass. He was talking about, I got it, but I can pull it out and I can ask for it. Yeah, you ask for forgiveness. You let the missiles come and you got that chip in you, and you add, oh Lord, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak. Then all of a sudden you gonna see a laser, disintegrate your black ass. So keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. The Most High have sent the true men of the Lord down here on earth, starting with GMS. It says the apocalyptic book of 1 Enoch states, which we don't deal with the Enoch book of Enoch, that there would be an abyss filled with fire south of Jerusalem, into which ungodly Israelites would be thrown. See, that's you reading them books, making them many books. There's no end, and much study is awareness to the flesh. Later, so I hope Bishop Nate is not secretly reading out of First Enoch. It says later the idea was extended so that this place was conceived to be the scene of fiery punishment. That's the Armageddon for the Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shabbat, the Yahweh's judgment for all of the ungodly. Still later, when the place of punishment was conceived of as under the earth, so they kept, they kept making, oh yeah, no, it means this, it means that. They're trying to get a meaning as to what hell means, like the lake of fire. The lake of fire is also written in Revelation chapter 15, the first 2 verses, where it says we're going to be on a sea of glass. There's going to be fire up under us, and that fire, we're gonna have a ringside seat to America. We're going to hover when we get beamed up. We're going to hover. The elect is going to hover over Babylon the Great, and we're going to look at it burn, and we're going to praise Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says the English term occurs also as part of the phrase used to render Tartaro, to send to hell. 2 Peter 2 verse 4. In Greek mythology, Tartarus was the name of a deep abyss below Hades, where the Titans were imprisoned. The Titans, you're going to meet the Titans. You go to hell, you get to meet the Titans. Or you get to meet that 3-headed dog and Apollyon. But that's why the Most High took Tazadakia out, because he was bringing in a Roman Catholic doctrine. And IUIC, you're slipping in a Roman Catholic doctrine. What are you going to teach next? That Mary never had sex with Joseph? But in time, the term became roughly equivalent to Hades. Hades is Greek for the grave. Let me see if there's any more. But anyway, you have a lot more information, and they go off. They're on point, but they go off. The real existence of hell is irrefutably taught in the scriptures as both a place of the wicked dead and a condition of retribution of unredeemed men. The nature of hell is indicated by the repeated reference to eternal punishment, eternal fire, everlasting chains. We are in those everlasting chains. The pit of the abyss, outer darkness, Matthew, I'm going to read this. The wrath of the Most High, Romans 2:5, second death. Yeah, that's the lake of fire. Eternal destruction from the face of the Most High and eternal sin. Yeah, I don't got to read anymore. You know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. This went longer than I wanted it to go. Okay, let me do this. Okay, let me find hell here. Okay, hell, there's a few sentences on the word hell in the Compact Bible Dictionary. It says a place and condition of retribution for unredeemed men, eternal, unquenchable fire, lake of fire, fire and the worm, place of torment, place of outer darkness. So anyway, right below that is Hellenist. And I'm going to leave off with this one. I'm going to read this definition. Hellenist, as opposed to Helen. You have the word Greek. You have the word Greek in the New Testament, and you have the word Grecian also in the New Testament. And you have what's the term in Joel 3? I believe it's, I'm not going to go to it. I'm not going to go to it. It says, Jews who made Greek their tongue. Jews who made Greek their tongue. So they knew that they were Israelites. So anytime you come across the word Gentile, Greek, heathen in the New Testament, and they're receiving the blessing, those are Israelites. It said Jews who made Greek their tongue, and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices. Acts 6 verse 1 and Acts 9 verse 29. And coming back to Ham, we read about Ham in the beginning of this video. It didn't mention not the Negroes. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.